So now, and I must actually say, normally everything runs smoothly, but I actually forgot myself to share my screen. So sorry for that, but some of the slides will come back later. So what I'm now happy to invite, because how can we talk about electrification without talking about Norway? So we should have Gear coming in. Gear, welcome.
Thank you, Johan.
You okay?
You hear me good?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly.
Perfect.
So I've just added two slides here, just to paint a bit the a picture here, and then afterwards we'll go into that. Is first of all, if we see uh, the electric vehicles, the pure electric vehicles grow to 10% last year, 2021 in Europe. This is actually a PC, not including light commercial vehicles. We've seen gradually from 16 to 21, uh, diesel going down from 49% to 22, which then led to the fact that up to 2019, petrol went up, now comes slightly down because of the increase of PHEV and electric. So that's the move in Europe. Now, if you look into the top 5 countries from a percentage point of view on total sales, so not even talking in private or in fleet, we see, of course, Norway leading by far, with 65%, and then Iceland, and then we see other players as well. Germany has recently, I think, come in this top 5 because of their incentives the last time. So, Gear, maybe for the audience, can you paint a picture in general of the evolution over the last years, maybe, and what are the challenges a bit for new and basically used in current time?
Yeah, Johan, let me try to give you some, update from the Norwegian market space on the battery electric.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's seen from a OEM perspective and also from the dealer market. We can say it's been a great success. Starting out in 2011 with introducing the Nissan Leaf and the different models that was available at that time. The sales numbers were pretty low, and there was a lot of uncertainty in the market and a lot of speculation about the whole technology, the battery, how this will work, and especially given the situation with the Nordics, where we have a strong winter with minus degrees, and being in, there was no one to lean to, no empirical data to find, so we just had to go in there with more or less some high risk. And what we have seen since 11 is that all the predictions, I mean, at least most of the prediction that was set out from the market and journalists and also some of the users starting to be the very early adopters, has shown that it really was not a problem. It was just a lot of benefit from also not only private economy, but also in terms of environmental effect on the battery electric coming into to the streets. Um, Also, since we have this situation with the winters, we have the tires with this nail system into, and that also creates a lot of dust. So we also saw that introducing the battery electric cars and the level of dust that was reduced, of course, helping a lot of people. And yeah, and I think given that the change, was successfully done, and I mean the bill was taken by the Norwegian government at that time, so we had very strong incentives to make it happen, both financially and of course also then by road tax and parking and free ferries and all the things that supported the initiative. So more or less today, where we see a new sales record for electric vehicles in 2021, by 82% of private consumers buying battery electric cars. It's tremendous, and it also continues into January, and it's given the situation that we had great experience, and also that the number of products and the differentiations of the products is become much wider. So it's, I mean, more or less whatever kind of usage you see in a car, you will find that option covered by a battery electric car today.
But and actually then if because as you say, as from 2011, 12, 13, people, uh, private people or fleets, they had the same concerns probably that we all have maybe in other countries, or that say certainly private consumers have, like battery degradation, range, all of those aspects. Has then EV in the mind of people become a mainstream, or has this is do they still need to be convinced? Do they need to have a lot of warranty guarantee and things, or is there now more an atmosphere of no, it is okay? So has the perception changed actually of people?
Yes, the conception has really changed. So
Okay.
today, when you as a consumer go to the dealership or to the website to find your next car, I mean, everybody would put a battery electrical vehicle as a first choice, and mainly due to the user experience and the positivity among the audience, who has, share their experience. And I mean, if you
Mhm.
first had, and for many now, we are talking about a second and a third generation product that they want to buy, and that you don't go back to a combustion or an ICE model again. So I would say that yeah, I mean, Norway is in topology a pretty wide country. I mean, if you turn the Norwegian map upside down, you will end somewhere in Italy. So we could assume that the the number of people choosing a diesel car, for instance, should be higher. But I think what we have seen is that I mean, the big obstacle is the charging situation, and as long as there is private interest in building the private, sorry, the charging network, we, at least I think that this will only continue, and that we in a few couple of years will have more than 90% coverage of battery electric cars.
Yeah. Is there any change in the approach uh, 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 from the authorities or government? I think there are elections, or there have been elections, or there will be
Yeah,
elections.
we
Is
had
that having an
election
impact?
last
Okay.
year, so we had a change in
Yeah.
office. Yeah.
And is there a change in a policy, or will it continue, or?
I will for, you know, the most it will continue, but we have some signals now that for the more expensive cars, about 600,000 Norwegian,
Mhm.
about 60,000 euro, we will see a VAT coming into to use, and also the more soft benefits that we had will be reduced, so that we'll have to pay a smaller amount of toll tax when you drive. And yeah, so
Mhm.
they will be the whole situation from the Norwegian authorities back to 2010 and 11 was to kickstart this technology. So and we had for years had a very expensive, and that was due to taxes. I mean, we had 100% tax on imported cars, which is a
Mhm.
car. So we had the opportunity to do something about that, because I think also that was a problem in the relationship to the European Union.
Mhm.
So we had and of course the strong finance to the Norwegian government was, they were in a unique position to do something, and they really succeeded in kickstarting the technology. And I think going into 2022 and beyond, I think we will see that the technology will manage by itself. They are
Okay.
competitive.
I will add on the screen a slide that you've provided the data on. It's probably a lot, but it's a different top sellers by fuel type with the residual value performance. And I think in there we can see that BEVs are just above 50, and you've got other like petrol hybrids being at 64, and even diesel being at 71. Can you maybe explain a bit on this graphs, what it really shows?
Yes, I will be trying to do so. So the battery electric, given that this was from the last 3 years, and the fact then is that they were the mainstream product. So the low residual value comes mainly out of two factors, and one thing was I mean, all the way the new car price has been reduced after introduced to the market, staying in the market for 6 months, 12 months. We saw that the new car price was reduced significantly for some models, and also taking into account the high volume and the very limited amount of models in market. That gives a high pressure on residual values due to the volume itself. So that's, given the fact that the average, selling rate for diesel or petrol the last years has been about 10% each. So if you were looking for a new or newer diesel car, not so much to choose from. So that's why the residual value is pretty high on those models.
Now, just a comment for the audience. If you got any question that you like to raise to our speaker, just add it in the chat. We'll have another 5 minutes with Gear, so please do so, and then we can see if we can ask the question. I had one question related to this, because of course there's always this confusion between percentage and value. Often electric vehicles have a lower percentage residual value linked to their higher list price, but that sometimes is a bit confusing from a value point of view. They might still be higher. Um, is the is the depreciation or the total cost of ownership finally, is it favorable for electric vehicles, and does it link a lot to incentives? If, for example, you would take tomorrow half of the incentives out in tax VAT, would it still stack up?
Uh, Not as much. I mean, of course, if you will introduce the incentives, I mean, the car will be more expensive, and most likely it will not
Hmm.
be followed by the price of the second-hand car.
Okay.
So yeah, I think we will see that taking away the incentives, we will see a different situation. But then again, I think that the battery electric rumor and experience given from so many users the last years, um, I think combustion engines would anyway have a problem competing with the battery electric cars. But what we are, just to add some of you, maybe going into a more mature stadium of our development, we see that I know there is constantly done tests on range, and I mean the W WLTP standard is given by an optimal temperature situation. I think it's about 23 degrees, and that is something that we are seeing today a bit, misleading in terms of how the consumer should use range as a important parameter to choose their vehicle. And because for 6 months of the year we are below zero, and we then see a pretty strong reduction in range for most, I mean all of the product, but they vary between 40-15% up to 30% reduction in range. So we are discussing now if
Mhm.
we really need also a standard for, like, -5 degrees. How would the range been seen if the VLTP test was done under -5 degree conditions?
Okay, great. What I've seen in some data that we will share later also with the experts, is like uh, plug-in hybrid electric vehicle versus pure EV is almost 50-50 mix if it is into fleets. If we go to private consumers, it's basically all uh, electric vehicles. What's the reason why fleets choose both actually in an equal manner? Is it because of range?
Yeah, I don't know if it's due to range, but I think I mean we did a lot of studies for OEMs at an early stage for residual values because everybody was, what can we expect? And I think the leasing companies has been avoiding this risk to some extent that they did not want to put on too much risk. And also there has been, issues with the taxing system about how the tax will be treated buying electrical car, buying a chargeable electric car. Sorry, a chargeable Benz petrol and diesel car.
Oh, no. Okay. Um, Good. Well, Geir, thanks a lot for your contribution. We had to have, and I think it's very interesting to have you in order to see how, in a normal market where it has become almost standard, how this
Mhm.
has evolved and how it works. So, thanks very much for your contribution. And I'm sure if people need to know more, they will be able to find you somewhere, certainly. Okay, Geir, thanks a lot
Yep.
for being there.
Thank you.
And I'm going to go over to the expert panel in a second. Thanks, Geir.